In the hall of Amidaji, a blind priest lifts his biwa, and the first note trembles into the dark like a moth finding flame. He cannot see the shadow at the threshold, only feel the cold that enters with it, patient and unhurried. Beyond the sliding doors a voice speaks his name, formal, certain of an answer. The voice does not ask if he will come, only tells him where, and something in its calm authority silences every question in his throat. He rises, feels for his sandals, and follows footsteps he cannot see across gravel grown strangely smooth. The night smells of salt and iron, though the temple sits far from the sea. They walk longer than the road he remembers, past corners that seem not to exist in so small a town. The ground turns to stone, a gate creaks open on hinges older than memory, warmth rushing out, carrying the murmur of low voices. Someone takes his sleeve, guiding him forward, saying only, "We have been expecting you." Someone guides him inward, murmuring, "We have been expecting you, Hōichi, tonight of all nights." The hall around him seems vast, silk brushing silk, the hush of a great household holding its breath for music. A woman's voice, soft with sorrow, asks for the saddest chapter he knows, the fall of a house at sea. He does not know whose grief he is about to play, only that his fingers ache to answer it, the way old wounds answer rain. Before the first string sounds, we must go back 7 centuries, to a strait so narrow ships fought hull against hull, and an empire drowned in an afternoon. That water still remembers. The Kanmon Strait divides 2 shores where, in spring 1185, the Genji and Heike clans fought their final battle, oar against oar, arrow against arrow. Records describe a tide so strong it turned the fighting twice before noon, deciding in hours what decades of war could not. By evening the strait ran red under a darkening sky. Among the Heike dead was the child emperor Antoku, only 8, carried into the waves by his grandmother rather than left to a rival's mercy. The chronicles call it the drowning of a court, ladies, generals, priests, a boy who wore the throne like borrowed silk. No grave holds them all, the strait became their resting place. Fishermen came to call the small crabs of that strait Heike crabs, their shells marked with patterns legend reads as scowling faces of drowned samurai. Whether nature or memory shaped those shells, the story spread that the dead had not left the water they died in. A temple called Amidaji rose near the shore, built for prayer. Amidaji kept a graveyard of stone markers for the Heike lords, rows of quiet names facing the strait where their bodies were never returned. Monks lit lanterns each evening, chanting sutras meant to carry drowned souls from grief toward rest, year after patient year. Locals said that on certain nights, faint fires moved above the water. By the time our story begins, centuries had passed, yet the temple's duty had not changed, only grown quieter, prayer folded into daily life. The monks there expected no miracles, only continuity, bells at dusk, incense at dawn, names read so no one is forgotten twice. Into this house came a blind musician whose gift tested it. Hōichi had been blind since childhood, yet his hands found the biwa's strings the way other men find familiar doorways. He trained for years reciting the tale of the Heike, a long lament for a fallen court, until priests said his voice could make listeners weep. The head priest gave him lodging, a small room and respect. He lived simply, practicing each evening on the temple veranda while cicadas argued in the pines and the strait breathed its slow, salt breath below. Visitors sometimes stopped just to hear him work through a passage twice, chasing some exacting idea of sorrow done right. The priest, often away on business, trusted Hōichi alone in the house. One such night, footsteps crossed the garden with a weight Hōichi knew at once as a warrior's, though no visitor had been announced. The stranger addressed him by name, said a noble lord was lodging nearby and wished to hear his recitation, tonight, without delay. The voice allowed no refusal, and Hōichi rose for his lute. He played the Fall of Dan-no-ura as he had 100 times before, yet that night the room seemed to hold its breath differently. Somewhere near him, women wept at the drowning of the emperor, low voices praising his skill in tones thick with grief. When the final string faded, silence held too long before someone spoke. He was led home before dawn and told, gently but firmly, that the Lord wished this visit kept secret, lest lesser ears grow jealous of such honor. Hōichi agreed without much thought, grateful simply to have played well for listeners who understood what he carried. The next night, and every night after, the footsteps returned. After many nights of these absences, the head priest returned from travel and noticed his lodger looked thinner, hollow-eyed, as though sleep had stopped finding him. Servants whispered that Hōichi slipped away each evening despite the storms, walking out alone into weather no sane traveler would choose. Worried, the priest sent 2 men to follow him quietly. That night rain fell in sheets, and the servants trailed Hōichi's shape past the temple gate, half losing him twice in the downpour. He walked with strange confidence for a blind man in a storm, never stumbling, as though the path had been worn smooth by habit. It led not toward any lodging, but into the old graveyard. There the servants found him seated among weathered grave markers, Biwa in hand, playing to the drowned court as if the stones were silk-robed lords. Around him danced pale lights locals called ghost fires, cold above the wet grass, gathered like an unseen crowd. Hōichi played on, unaware he performed for no living audience, tears on his face. The servants fled back through the rain and woke the head priest, describing what they had seen in halting sentences no one wanted to believe. The priest explained what the men already feared, that Hōichi had been summoned nightly not by a lord but by the restless dead of Dan-no-ura. Such spirits release favorites reluctantly. If Hōichi kept obeying their summons, the priest warned, the Heike dead would eventually claim him, drawing him past music into their own company. There was one old defense against such possession, writing the Heart Sutra across every inch of exposed skin, so ghosts would see only sacred text. That night, before rain stopped, the men began. Working by lamplight, the priest and monk painted sutra characters over Hōichi's arms, chest, back, and legs, brushstroke after careful stroke until dawn neared. They told him to sit motionless on the veranda when the spirit came again, answering nothing, moving nothing, trusting the words to hide him. Hōichi, exhausted and frightened, agreed to sit like stone. In their haste against the hour, the 2 men covered every surface they could see, yet forgot one small detail neither thought worth a glance. Hōichi's ears, small and easily overlooked beneath his hair, remained bare of any protective character, plain flesh in a body wrapped in scripture. Then they hurried off, believing the danger sealed shut. The familiar footsteps returned at the appointed hour, crossing the garden with the same unhurried weight, calling Hōichi's name into the dripping dark. This time no answer came, no rising, no reaching for the Biwa, only silence held in painful stillness. The spirit searched the shadows and found, at last, not a man, only 2 waiting ears. Unable to see the sutra-covered priest sitting perfectly still, the spirit took the ears as proof his summons had, this once, gone unanswered. With 2 swift movements he tore them away, explaining aloud that he must carry evidence back, since the rest of the man lay beyond his sight. Then the footsteps withdrew across the garden. At first light the priest found Hōichi sitting upright, blood down both sides of his sutra-covered face, alive but gravely wounded. He had not moved through the ordeal, obedient to instructions given in fear, and that stillness had likely saved the rest of him. The priest wept apologizing, while Hōichi asked only if the Lord was pleased. A physician was called to tend the wounds, and though pain lingered for weeks, Hōichi slowly recovered under the temple's steady, guilty attention. The priest never forgave himself the missed detail, yet Hōichi bore no anger, only relief the nightly summons had ended. Recovery gave him back his evenings, though not the two small parts now lost. News of the ordeal spread quickly along the strait, from fishing villages to travelers who repeated it as proof the Heike dead still listened somewhere. People began calling him mimi-nashi Hōichi, Hōichi the Earless, a name carrying pity and awe for what he survived. The temple once known for quiet prayer found itself known for a witness. Visitors traveled specifically to hear him play, drawn less by curiosity than respect for a man who had performed, unknowingly, for the dead. His skill, already considerable, seemed sharpened by the ordeal, each recitation of the fallen court carrying weight no untested musician could match. Offerings supported the temple for years, and Hōichi became its keeper. He lived his remaining years at Amidaji, playing the Heike tale for pilgrims who came to sit near a man once summoned by ghosts. He never wandered toward the graveyard again, yet spoke of that lost audience with tenderness owed to patient friends. He died, and was buried in sight of the strait he once serenaded. The temple at Shimonoseki still stands near that water, and visitors walk past markers bearing names 7 centuries old, salt-worn but legible. Whether ghost fires rise above Dan-no-ura some nights, no witness can say, only that the story insists someone below remembers being heard. Perhaps every old song is a sacrifice, offered so someone is not forgotten.